when we were in New York, all these people came backstage. So I met Meryl Streep.
Oh my God.
Jane Fonda, Philip Seymour Hoffman, a number of people of that ilk.
Hey there, it's Connor Muller and welcome to Let's Chat Showbiz. This podcast is all about Australian showbiz. We're talking the glitz, the glam, the tough times and everything in between. Let's get this show on the road. Today's guest is a film, television and stage actress. You might remember her from The Sullivans, Wolf Creek 2 or even Muriel's Wedding. She's graced the stage all over Australia and for years worked alongside some of the best in the biz. We're thrilled to welcome Annie Byron. Welcome, Annie.
Thank you.
Now, you've done so much in your career. You've done theatre, television, film. But let's go back to 1977. You were a graduate at NIDA.
Yes.
Tell me about that and how that became.
Oh, it was a bit of a special year.
Yeah.
For quite a long time we were called The Year.
Yes.
Because two of the people who were in that year were Mel Gibson and Judy Davis.
Correct.
And at that time, no one really had quite had the kind of career that they both ended up having. Mm. What else can I say?
And you mentioned there, obviously, Mel Gibson and Judy Davis, but you also had Deborah Lawrence
in your
class.
Yes.
Sally Mackenzie.
Yes.
And
Robert Menzies.
Yes.
Peter Kingston.
And you had Wayne Jarrett. Is that correct?
And Wayne Jarrett.
Tell me about Wayne Jarrett, because obviously in 1988 we lost Wayne Jarrett, quite young. Tell me about Wayne Jarrett.
Wayne was the youngest person in the year and he'd come to NIDA directly from school and he had such a light energy. I remember at the end of our third year in our one of the physical classes, we had to choose a piece of music and do athletic things to it. And he chose some wonderful piece of classical music and he hadn't planned it. It was like he danced, but he wasn't dancing, but he was doing extraordinary acrobatic things, but it was done with such grace and beauty. It was wonderful. And he got to do some really good work before his far too early death. Mm. Yeah, he was a beautiful, beautiful soul.
Yeah. And what are your memories of Mel Gibson and Judy Davis? I mean...
Mel was very funny.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to come to NIDA. He ended up there because one of his sisters had put in the application and he was late getting there on the first day and he didn't kind of seem very comfortable there, but he always had a really great sense of timing and he was funny. Yeah. And he got Mad Max before we'd even left, before the end of the final years. So, I mean, his career just took off at an extraordinary trajectory, is that the word? And Judy too got My Brilliant Career just after we'd finished. So they both took off really, really quickly.
And you also had Sally Mackenzie in that class as well, which she actually made a documentary, Acting Class of 1977.
We better not talk about that.
Oh, okay. We'll cut that bit out. I love that. We'll cut that bit out, don't worry.
I don't know, you could leave that bit in.
We can.
But no one was very happy with it.
Oh, okay. Mm. I couldn't find it anywhere. Everywhere I looked, you could not find it.
I can't tell you how glad I am.
Oh. Right. So, out of NIDA, what was your first gig?
It was at the Old Tote Theatre. It was directed by George Ogilvy. It was a George Bernard Shaw play, and I played the maid. And I've been playing the maid for a very long time. I continued to play the best maid was when I played Cate Blanchett's maid in Hedda Gabler, the Ibsen play, and it had a very successful season at Sydney Theatre Company, and then we went to New York.
I was going to ask you about that. That was 2004, and that was also with Hugo Weaving?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Tell me about that. Please tell me about, now that we've mentioned it, please.
Well,
working with Cate Blanchett, of course.
It was just so wonderful to work with Cate. She was very immediate always, and in the rehearsal room, if she did something that really worked, it didn't mean that she would just continue to do that. She continued to try new things all the time. She was extraordinarily modest and generous and just fabulous. Mm. And it was just a sheer delight to be in that production. Mm. And to end up going to New York, was very exciting.
Of course. Not every time you do a theatre show and ends up taking you to New York. So. Now, with your television career, you've done so many of Australian television shows, Always Greener, All Saints, Home and Away, just to name a few. But you played Lou Sullivan, Uncle Harry's wife, the second wife.
That's right.
From 1978 to 1979.
Yes.
You were in 198 episodes.
Was I?
Yes.
Wow.
And you were the wife of Michael Caton's character.
That's right, who was so wonderful to work with. So that was very early in my career too. That came just after the play. I didn't expect to get work in television. I knew I had quite a good face for period work, and but no great beauty. I didn't have the sort of looks that I thought were going to get me television work. But of course the Sullivans were set in the 30s and 40s, so that worked quite well. And we, at that time, we didn't do very much training about television at NIDA. I think we had 1 week at the ABC studios at Gore Hill. And Michael was just so careful in teaching me how to find my light, how to move, where to put myself. He really was very generous in showing me the tricks of the trade, really, I suppose, or just learning how to do it.
Yeah. And 198 episodes, that's a long time to be in a TV show for anyone.
Yeah.
Do you have any memories of on set and things like that, or? Oh,
just that it was a joy to do. And I was quite sorry my character didn't keep going, you know, but she was really good. She drove trucks, played footy, made beer. She was one of the blokes. And she was very down to earth, and I just loved doing her. But then she got transferred to Darwin.
Right.
And we never saw her anymore after that.
Now, when I was doing my research for this interview, it also came up that you had 7 different roles in a country practice.
Isn't that funny?
7 different roles.
So it would only be 1 episode.
Yeah.
And I'd die more often than not. But one time when I didn't have to die was really wonderful. I was playing, I think this was a country practice, a pregnant woman, and I'd already had my son by that time. So I knew how fragile or how sensitive women can be during pregnancy. And the story of this character was that she was a bit older, and she and her husband had been trying to have baby for quite a long time, and hadn't worked. And here she's got this baby and she's carried it full term. And at the end of the episode, the baby was supposed to be stillborn.
Right.
And I went to the director and the writer and I said, this show is so popular. There are going to be a lot of people looking at this. And there are going to be a lot of pregnant women, and it's going to be really hard for them to see this. And they changed it.
Oh, wow.
The baby didn't die.
Yeah, right.
It was a happy ending. And I just thought that was a really worthwhile thing to say and shift to make.
And they did it.
It was great that people were open to that kind of input.
And I mean, to play 7 different roles in the same television series.
Over a fairly long period of time.
Well, it was between 83 to 92. Okay. So it was, you know, but that doesn't happen anymore. We don't have those shows to be able to give roles to actors in that anymore. It's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah. And again, it was a face that could look quite different. So that helped, especially when I'd already died as somebody else.
Now, is it correct that you were in Home and Away twice?
Probably.
Well, apparently, according to online, it said you were in it in 1988, but then you were again in it in 2017.
Oh, that was a really different character. Yes, I think that's probably...
Yeah.
Was I?
Well, that's what the internet says.
Oh, well, all right. I've done a lot of little things.
Yep.
A lot of one episodes.
Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest, I don't remember them all.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Now, you've done a lot of movies and film work as well.
Little bits in big films, not many of them, and a lot of big bits in little films.
Yeah. Now, in 1985, you were in Fran, playing the role of Marge.
Marge,
Marge, which you won an AFI Award for Best Actress in Supporting Role.
I did.
Tell me about that role and filming that.
Oh, well, it was with Noni Hazlehurst, and that was really wonderful. She was a sheer joy, and what can I tell you about it? I really liked the script. I really liked the character. The director, Glenda Hambley, had worked with the children. Noni, I think, had 3, and I can't remember how many I had, 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But she'd done quite a lot of work with them just to get them used to being with each other and just playing little word games and stuff like that. So they're really good. You know, on screen they're very relaxed. Yeah.
And when you won the AFI Award, it was presented to you by Liz Patterson, Barry Humphries.
I thought there's someone who doesn't like women has organised this. You know, there he was with all But what a joy. I mean, he is just so brilliant.
Yeah.
He's so fantastic.
Yeah.
But I was a bit taken aback when I saw who was going to be presenting it and wondered what I'd do if I won. But anyway, I was so overwhelmed, I just said my bit and didn't take too much notice of him.
Now, you were also in Muriel's Wedding, iconic Australian movie there.
Yes.
You played Rhonda's mum, of course, played by Rachel Griffiths.
Yes.
Tell me about Muriel's Wedding.
That was just so wonderful. And accidentally, we were called for wardrobe fittings at the same time. And so they said, oh, well, do you mind if we do you together? You know, we were going to be in scenes together. And we did, no. So we're both in the one fitting room, you know, and we're standing there and we're looking at ourselves in our bras and knickers, and we thought someone really saw something here. We're not that alike in the face, except we both got big noses. But our bodies were really similar.
Wow.
And we thought, there's a bit of a family resemblance there. Yeah, she was a joy to work with too. It was great.
Do you remember how you got that role? Like, did you audition?
I didn't audition.
You didn't?
With no great hopes or expectations.
Yeah.
But I think I was a bit at the top of the list for that anyway. I suppose that was from the Sullivans. They knew me. I don't really know, but it came easily and it was great.
Do people ever recognise you in the street ever?
They used to, but often they recognise me from my voice, which is curious.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I think that one time when I was recognised, I did an ad once that was for cereal.
Right.
And then I was getting some lunch at a food court, and I was getting some kind of roll, and the woman said, "Oh, and do you want onions with that?" I said, "Oh, that'd be good, thanks." And what about mint sauce? "Oh, thank you very much." And something else, and she said, "And then it'll be just right." Just right. That was what the ad was for. And it was so cute because she did that very deliberately. Yeah. But people could sometimes be a bit not so nice when they recognise you. Yeah. But that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Now, in 1997, you played Mum in Doing Time for Patsy Cline.
Yes, I did.
Can you tell me anything about that?
It was a very happy crew, and it was a film where there was more time for rehearsal than you often have. And it was on location, so we were all away, and we were able to go to the farmhouse and check it all out and be in the space, and it felt very, for me it felt very relaxed. Like a lot of the filming that had happened just before my bits were in a car. So there's, you know, everyone squashed up, the director and the film, everything's happening. And then my bits were in the farmhouse. So the crew were kind of quite relaxed and pleased when we got to that, because then there were also bits that were in prison cells. So the farmhouse was a bit of a favourite location.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Now, 2013, you played Lil in Wolf Creek 2.
I did.
I mean,
so,
I've watched those
spoiler
scenes.
alert, I make soup and die. And it wasn't because the soup was so bad. No. And horror is not my genre of choice, I have to say. But to see behind it, to see the extraordinary things that the half cut off faces and all the rigs that people make, and working out how they make the blood spurt when you get shot. That was just so interesting. It was great.
John Jarratt's character, Mick Taylor, he ended up shooting you brutally.
Yes.
How did you film that scene? Because I watched it the night where you literally get shot and the blood goes flying everywhere. How did you film that?
I was disappointed because I wasn't allowed. There was a body double for when the actual shot came. Yes, but it's so cleverly done and so quick, you can't tell.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's actually another person in my costume who does the fall. And she had to press this little thing down here at the right moment so the blood would spurt out.
Yeah, right.
So that was a little bit disappointing not to get to do that myself, but great fun to watch.
Yeah, and where did you film that scene?
It was in South Australia.
Yeah, because part of it was filmed in South Australia, so I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, it was out from Adelaide. Look, I really can't tell you where. It was a fabulous house, a really big house, and just plains all around it. It was very beautiful.
Yeah, and you worked with the late Gerard Kennedy in that as well.
I did.
Yeah, memories of working with him.
Well, that was amazing to work with him because I'd seen him on television, you know, in Cop Shop and all those sort of things many years before. And so, you know, it was meeting a bit of an icon and really interesting to meet him and learn how he was living in a boat, which he'd built.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yes. It was and just to hear his whole history.
Yeah.
Because it stretched back quite a way.
Yeah. And obviously with that movie and that character that John Jarratt played, it's quite scary and evil. How do you, as an actor, were you scared at all? Did you ever feel a bit like...
I know John quite well.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he'd lived in the mountains at some time, you know, so I felt like I was working with a friend and I wasn't at all scared of him. But then when I went to see the film, even though I knew everything that was happening because I'd read the whole script, even so, I couldn't look at all of it. Some of it I had to do through my fingers, and even then you could hear squelching, so I knew what was happening. So, I mean, I found not my choice of
brutal, isn't
genre.
It? And John Jarratt plays that well. Yes. That role so well, you know, creepy and. Now, you also in 2024 you did The Nut. You played Esme. Nut Farm, sorry.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Nut Farm was wonderful. So we shot up around on a coastal place, North New South Wales.
Right.
Starts with B, Brunswick Heads. And everything about that film was very special. Like the guy who used to come and pick me up from the plane to drive me places, he often was a driver. He'd go further north to where a lot of American films were being made. And he said he liked working on this film because it meant that he could live at home. But also he said, it doesn't give as much money, but it's really good it's generous with its soul dollars. And its soul dollars were things like so many people on that crew were local, and often they might be people like mothers of young children, and they were allowed to job share. So when one would work they'd look after each other's children and do that. And everyone got a step up. Like our first assistant director had never been a first, but she'd been a second. Right. And the second had never been a second, but they'd been a third. But it was an opportunity. And like normally with a film, they have a big truck and they come and make all the food, you know. But this way, they really wanted to encourage a whole lot of local businesses. Yeah, right. So, for instance, on the first day, we had these fabulous burgers that had come from the two women who had the shop across the road, and they were really, really good. And any that were left over were taken and given to the homeless people.
Wow.
That sort of thing kept happening. And a lot of people through the crew who came on that film went on to bigger and better, and that was really good. But the other thing that's wonderful about that film, and Aj Barker was great. Like, he'd never had a lead role in a film before, and he was just so open and so humble, and so he was just really, really lovely. We were invited. The film was invited to the 26th Antipodean Film Festival in Saint-Tropez in the south of France.
Wow.
And it just so happened that I was in Paris. I was due to come back 18 days before it was to go on. And I thought, well, when else am I going to be in a film in Saint-Tropez? So I had to stay a bit longer.
Oh, how good.
Yeah, it was a great thrill.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now, moving on from television and film, you've had an extensive career on the stage. You've worked alongside some incredible performers.
Yes.
You mentioned before about working with Cate Blanchett and Hugo Weaving. That production you did was directed by Robin Nevin.
That's right.
Is that correct?
Yes, who has directed
You're now
the one that's got me in Adelaide.
Yeah, so tell me why you're in Adelaide and what's happening here.
Oh, well, having worked in the theatre for nearly 50 years, I've never ever been an understudy before.
Wow.
And it was really lovely that this was just offered to me.
Yeah.
And it's actually really hard. Like, one of the questions that people always ask you is, how do you remember your lines? And really, it's mostly not a problem. I mean, apart from the fact that it's what you do, it's a big part of the job. When you have rehearsal, you're remembering what you're doing with your body and who you're talking to, and you're listening, and it's a whole kind of integrated thing. But when you're being an understudy and you're not there for the original rehearsals, because it started in Melbourne and I'm based in Sydney, so I had to learn it all. I had a month's warning, and I had to learn the whole thing by myself, and that was really not so easy. But I had a friend who was prepared to hear me many times a day. So without that, I don't think I could have done it.
Yeah.
But it's a very different thing. But this company is just so lovely. A number of the people who are in the lead roles have been understudies in their day. So there's not any kind of feeling that understudies are lesser. Yeah. It's very warm and engaging and welcoming, and I've just loved being part of it. So I was very happy, having done that in Sydney, to be able to come to Adelaide to do it again and reconnect with them.
Yeah. And how are you finding Adelaide? You've obviously been here many times before, I'm assuming.
I've been here a few times, and I do have a few old friends, and I've been able to see them. But mostly while I'm here, I'm writing. So I'm being very careful not to be distracted by fabulous museums and art galleries and things that I would normally do.
Now, another one of your shows you did was Calendar Girls in 2010.
Yes.
You did that with Lorraine Bailey, Cornelia Francis, Fonda Birchmore, Amanda Muggleton.
Yes.
Tell me about that, the role you played.
Oh, I was not one of the calendar girls.
Right.
I had two roles, little weeny teeny roles. I actually timed them one time, and I was on stage for both of them together for 5 minutes. And they were both towards the beginning of the play. Right. So what I did was take my computer in, and that's when I wrote my first play. Yeah, wow. I spent the whole time, it was an adaptation from a book. And so I got onto my computer all the bits of the book that I thought I'd be able to use for my play. Yeah. And
had you worked with any of that cast prior to...
Well, Lorraine Bailey, because she was Mrs. Sullivan.
Of course.
Yeah.
So a little reunion there.
Yeah. I'd been her sister-in-law, having been married to her husband's younger brother, Harry.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
do you prefer stage or screen?
I prefer whatever I'm doing.
Yes, right. Okay.
I like to work.
Yeah, of course. What's been the highlight of your career so far, would you say?
Well, there are 3 really good plays.
Yeah.
The Venetian Twins.
Right.
Which was one of the very early plays to go on at the Sydney Opera House.
Oh, wow.
And it went on during the summer. And to arrive at this extraordinary building with the sparkling water and this wonderful, wonderful, silly play in these extraordinary, extreme costumes was just fantastic. Later on, maybe the following year, we took it to Melbourne, and we took it to Melbourne in the winter, and they didn't get it at all. It was really interesting.
Yeah, wow.
But it had another tour too, a national tour, and really it did very well in most places. That was good. Cripple of Inishmaan, which went on Sydney Theatre Company, and it was just, sometimes it's just the right group of people in the right place at the right time. That was a very special play. It was directed by Moelisa Stafford, now no longer with us, sadly, who was also in it. And he is so familiar with with where the play came from, so he could bring something very special to directing it. And Capricornia. Capricornia was wonderful. I think it was 1988 that we did that. And it's a huge book, and we had about 3 or 4 weeks of preliminary work where Louis Nara, who wrote it, was with us, and we had a lot of people would come and talk about different aspects of living in the Northern Territory or all different things, and the script was slowly developed over that time. And then there was a break, and then we had the rehearsal, and then we had a national tour. And I think it was the first time that Indigenous actors had lead roles in main stage performance in Australia.
Wow.
That was really fantastic.
Yeah.
That was really fantastic.
Yeah. Now, has there been a role that you haven't played that you would like to play?
Yes. I always wanted to play Lady Macbeth. And now, of course, I'm too old. And the other one I wanted to play was, it's an Australian play, Summer of the 17th Doll. I wanted to play the lead. I think her name is Olive.
Right.
And I think I had an opportunity to play Pearl, and I didn't want to play her. So I never got to play her, and I'm too old for that now too. But Olive's mother is in it, so maybe I'll get that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Who would be the most famous person you've met?
Well, I have a number of friends who are quite famous.
Please.
And colleagues.
Yeah.
Well, Judy, of course, because we were in the same year at NIDA, though I haven't seen anything of her for quite a while, and Mel and Cate Blanchett. The most famous person... Oh, no, when we were in New York, all these people came backstage to see Cate and Hugo.
Of course.
And so I've met Meryl Streep.
Oh, my God.
Jane Fonda, the woman who was married to Humphrey Bogart. And so do I, yeah. Philip Seymour Hoffman, a number of people of that ilk.
Wow.
But, that was just to say,
yeah, but
hello.
But I mean, Meryl Streep,
I know.
People like that, that's wild.
I know. And Jane Fonda said, I'm Jane. I mean, as if you needed to be told. That was a thrill.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Was there ever a TV show or role that you really wanted that you didn't get?
Yes.
Do you care to elaborate on that one? Or
there was another in that, The Cripple of Inishmaan. It's part of a trilogy. Beauty Queen of Linan. I really would have liked to have played the mother in that, and I never got a go at that. And I don't know if it's too late. Not necessarily. No, it's not too late.
Never say never.
No.
Now, at the end of each episode, I ask a question for the next guest.
Oh.
Our last guest was cabaret performer Michael Griffiths, and he said, what was the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you on stage? Here we go.
I did yawn once.
Not a good play then. What was that tiring, hey?
And I thought I'd got away with it. But one of the other women who was watching from the wings, she saw me. I don't know whether the audience did, but that wasn't very good. I can't think. I mean, there have been a few times where I've lost my lines, but that's not really embarrassing. It's just something that occasionally happens.
And audiences love to see things go wrong. And
they do love to see things go wrong.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
That's okay. Now, we don't know who the next guest could be.
Yes.
But a question for the next guest. It can be about absolutely anything. I've had all sorts of questions, but a question for the next guest.
Oh, dear, that's hard. What would you have done if you hadn't made your career doing this?
Brilliant. I like that question. That's fantastic. Now, final question I have for you. Actually, before we do that, what would your career be if you hadn't done this?
Oh, I don't think I'd have had one. I had an epiphany in the schoolyard when I was 6 years old. I lived in the bush, but I knew that I wanted to be an actor. And that's a really weird thing for a 6-year-old who lives in a country town who's never been to the theatre to know what they want to do. But, yeah. And I had a very strong sense of what it actually was to be an actor, to carry the truth of a role, for the play to be the most important thing. I don't know how I could have known that, but I knew it very strongly, and I knew that I wanted to be an actor. So then that meant that I knew I wanted to go to NIDA, because it was really the only acting school in the country at that time, quite a long time ago. And I didn't get in the first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I went to the University of New South Wales and did an honours degree in drama, which was fantastic. That was 4 years of being in Sydney, going to the theatre practically every night of the week. At that time, a lot of theatre companies would have, they'd open their previews or even sometimes their dress rehearsals to students, and especially drama students. So you'd get to see everything for nothing or next to nothing.
Yeah.
And that was really fantastic. And it just gave me a bit of time to grow up and to get a bit more used to being in the city and to read lots and lots of plays, just to learn something about the history of theatre and have a better informed background when I tried again, and I did get in.
Yeah. And you're probably glad you did get in that year because look at, Yeah. Now, my final question for you is there anybody you think would be good to come on to Let's Chat Showbiz?
Well, I'm not that familiar with Adelaide.
Or even just in general in show business, performing anywhere, anyone you think would be good?
Yeah, Johnny Hawkins, Auntie Johnny.
Yes.
They're fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Annie.
That's my
I've really
pleasure.
enjoyed this.
Thank
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want more episodes of Let's Chat Showbiz, you can follow along on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Instagram, TikTok, and even Facebook for all you oldies. See you next time on Let's Chat Showbiz.